What is up, YouTube? It is Psychedelic Scizor, and I am here with my Week 1 team builder for CPC Season 8 versus Johnny, or Risepool. It was a rough start to the season because he has consistently been one of the better battlers in the league, even when the league was absolutely stacked. He made playoffs last season, I know, easily. I forget exactly how far he made it. I know he didn't make it to finals, but, you know, it was a really tough playoff bracket last season. You know, people say that CPC was falling off, but it was still, at the very least, pretty top heavy. There were still some very solid coaches there, so him making it is not easy. But as you can see, the team on the right of your screen, he's got the Garchomp, Torrentee, Weavile, Keldeo, Bronzong, Roserade, Slowbro, Magneton, Vullaby, Palossand, and Mega Gardevoir, Z users being Garchomp and Magneton. So a couple things about this matchup. I actually feel very good about building for this team just because a lot of his mons are really good. I'm not going to say this is a bad team, it's actually an excellent team, but one thing that works into my favor is that pretty much everything is pretty linear. There's not too much variation in sets to this team, and even then some of the things that you have different options with, like Roserade or Slowbro or stuff like that, you kind of deal with them the same way. So, and I'm kind of just repeating what Bacon said in his power rankings before the season, which, by the way, if you haven't checked out, please check out. I will link it in the description. He did an awesome job. Just props to him. He put a lot of effort into that, and yeah, shout out to Bacon. So a couple things about this team. Garchomp is pretty threatening because my team doesn't really like switching into ground-type moves very much. Torrentee is also annoying, and Weavile is annoying because it does prevent me from running a lot of Scarfers. Ice does revenge a lot of my team. And while I have some solid answers, overall it's annoying to deal with. And Roserade is also fairly annoying to this team, whether it's just offensive and hard to switch into. I kind of expect him to be dual stab plus HP ground and either spikes or synthesis, one of the two. That's really what I expect. I think he needs the hidden power ground to hit Aegislash, and it'll be hidden power ground over hidden power fire just because it also hits stuff like Magnezone and Infernape. So yeah, I think that's going to be a really threatening mon. But looking at his team, a lot of his faster mons are pretty frail. And overall, he doesn't have a lot of sturdy walls outside of Bronzong being very sturdy and Slowbro. And then Roserade can be a little bulky. Vullaby is actually a potential bring here because it can deal with offensive Aegislash sets, just like its evolved form Mandibuzz did in OU for a while. Not as well as Mandibuzz, but, you know, it's a 2-point mon that's going to be checking my, you know, pretty much Uber. So I think that's definitely possible. Not guaranteed. I think he has ways of dealing with it without the Vullaby, but I think it's definitely possible. But anyway, to deal with this relatively fast team, with relatively limited walls, I chose to go a pretty hyper-offensive route. I think basically setup spam and offense kind of overwhelms him pretty easily because of his lack of recovery, and really kind of a lack of setup. The only setup on his team is like SD Garchomp, maybe SD Weavile, although I kind of don't expect that, and like Calm Mind Slowbro. I think that's about it, and Calm Mind Gardevoir, I guess. But basically, I don't see a lot of setup threats being able to overrun this team, so I think I can definitely out-offense him. I think I can win this game relatively quickly. I just think a lot of these mons break for each other, and so my dedicated lead is going to be the Azelf here. Stealth Rocks, dual screens U-turn with the Light Clay. I outspeed the what was his fast? Keldeo. I may actually bump the speed up to outspeed maybe like a Weavile that is speed creeping me, speed creeping his Keldeo or something like that. Yeah, I may actually do that. I'll look that up after this. So just assume that that's what the speed is going to be. But pretty much unless he leads off with the Weavile, I'm going to stay in, get up screens and rocks. I may forego getting up rocks in favor of screens, depending on what he brings. If he brings the Weavile, I am definitely setting up rocks, though. But yeah, screens really help me because his team doesn't have absurd breaking power versus me. It is, again, it's very strong, but it's not so absurd that, you know, screens aren't going to do anything. If I set up screens, I'm going to be able to get some setup off, and that's basically the goal here. So, special defense investment instead of phys def, so that I can maybe switch in on something like the Slowbro or the Roserade to set up screens again later, because I might set up screens and live and you turn out, so maybe I can get screens up later as well. Just having the pressure of this is going to be really nice. I considered Boom as my last move, but like I said, I think I'll be able to set up screens twice, so not killing myself would be appreciated. So yeah, that's it. Next we've got a Special Breaker Infernape, Grass Knot, Vacuum Wave, Fire Blast, and HP Ice. Enough speed to outspeed the Garchomp, because I don't want to risk a speed tie with Keldeo, and I think there's a solid chance that Keldeo is Scarf anyway, so I don't really want to go for that speed tie. I was originally Nasty Plot over Grass Knot, but the two problems with that was I kind of have trouble setting up, and even if I do set up, Torn kind of stops me from sweeping anyway, because it resists Vacuum Wave, and it's not really going to do that much. So I figured just Special Breaker is just the best set for this. I haven't run calcs on every mon, but I essentially 2-hit KO pretty much everything. Grass Knot I threw on there because it does 2-hit KO the Slowbro, which could be an annoying mon to this team, just being able to toxic stuff and live and kind of stall out my screens. So I have Grass Knot, and this just hits everything on his team very hard. Blaze over Iron Fist just because I don't have any use for Iron Fist here, and hey, if I get low, Blaze boosted Fire Blasts are going to hurt. So that is the Infernape set. Next we've got probably my main cleaner. This is less so a breaker. Some of the other mons on my team you'll see are breakers, like the Infernape. But Z Rain Dance, Surf, Ice Beam, and Energy Ball. Basically max speed to maybe get the speed tie or speed advantage on Mega Gardevoir. And this is another thing I'm considering. I may make it slower just because I may not be that afraid of Gardevoir. Or I may already be set up because I'm not going to try to set up on it. So I may actually make this just faster than Roserade, but I will have to see. Either way, this coverage does do a lot of damage to his team. It would kind of like a Tail Glow, and I had Tail Glow on this originally. I did swap around a lot of sets, but I think this is my best cleaner late game. If I get stuff chipped down with the rest of my team, which I think is going to be relatively easy, this coverage cleans up a weakened team extremely well. Obviously, Surf hits most things, Ice Beam hits Garchomp and Torn harder, and Energy Ball for the Slowbro, and the Hydration just so I can't be Toxic Stalled, and I don't have an option anyway. So yeah. Next, I think probably the best breaker on this team is Crocodile. Choice Banded, Intimidate, Knock Off, Crunch, Earthquake, and Pursuit. He basically doesn't have Dark Resists on this team. He's got Weavile and Keldeo as his Dark Resists, which are probably 2-hit KO'd by Choice Banded Crunch anyway, so I'm really not all that worried about it, and if they come in, I'm gonna have to be switching out anyway, or I might live because of Intimidate. Well, not the Keldeo, definitely not the Keldeo, but I considered Moxie, but I think Intimidate is useful for being able to pivot in extremely easily on the Bronzong, a little bit easier on the Garchomp, and maybe take a hit from Weavile if I need to in a pinch. But yeah, just 3 dark moves just because, like I said, he has basically no dark resists, and Earthquake because his only way of handling ground type attacks is Torn and Bronzong, and I think Bronzong and Torn are both going to be very pressured in this game, so I could see a situation where I could just be clicking Earthquake, but mostly it's going to be knock off early game, and then if he shows the same switch-ins to knock off, then Crunch is just going to be more powerful if the item's already knocked off, plus the chance to lower defense so I can muscle through some things that may want to take hits, and yeah, this Crocodile is going to absolutely wreck shit. I outspeed the Roserade, and that is the Crocodile set. Oh yeah, being able to Pursuit Trap Bronzong is going to be huge for my Mega Altaria. Roost, Cotton Guard, Dragon Dance, and Return. Now this may seem a little weird because he has some good Fairy Resists in Bronzong being extremely sturdy, and the Roserade, but this can work in two ways. Either Altaria can win by Roserade and Bronzong being weakened by Crocodile and Manaphy, or vice versa. Mega Altaria can lure in those mons and weaken them for Manaphy. And plus Infernape pressures those mons amazingly as well. Enough speed to outspeed the... What am I outspeeding? Let's see, I am outspeeding the... Oh, that's right, I have enough speed to, once I set up a Dragon Dance, I outspeed his entire team. And with Cotton Guard, I actually beat the Bronzong 1v1 if he doesn't have Toxic, which there's a good chance he will, but I don't think it's guaranteed either, because I think he'll be Stealth Rock, Gyro Ball, and Earthquake for sure. The Earthquake he needs for the Aegislash and the Magnezone, and the Gyro Ball he needs for Mega Altaria. So his last move could definitely be Toxic, but I don't know for sure what it's going to be. Either way, I can beat Bronzong 1v1 with the Cotton Guard. Just set up Cotton Guards in its faces and then Dragon Dance as I please. Cotton Guard also helps with Weavile not being able to revenge kill me as easily with Ice Shard. And yeah, I love how this team is working out to where if some of these mons can't win, they at least break a hole for another setup mon to win. And man, if sprains are up, then this thing really sets up easily. And Pixely Return is still going to be very good because the Bronzong, I feel like, is pressured a lot by this team, and Roserade is not that physically bulky, so if I set up a lot, I'll be able to do a ton to it, and that is the Mega Altaria. And finally, we have the Aegislash Max Spadef with King Shield, Sub, Shadow Ball, and Toxic. Shadow Ball is pretty free versus his team. He doesn't have a normal type, so Shadow Ball is all I need. And his fairy type is weak to Ghost, so I don't need the Flash Cannon. Sub-Toxic just to wear things down. This will help beat the Vullaby if it tries to check me, because that could be a good Aegislash check, and a somewhat solid Crocodile switch-in as well, if he's Max Fizdef. And just in general, it does help wear down a lot of mons on his team. With Max Spadef, first off, I can set up a sub on Slowbro and what was the calc? I believe, which was it? Scald? Yeah, Scald has a very small chance to break my sub. Basically, unless he gets one of the top 3 rolls. So I've got like a, whatever it is, 13 out of 16 chance of keeping my sub up versus an uninvested Slowbro. And I think he'll need to be pretty much all defensive. I don't think he'll run offensive investment. And with Toxic, I can beat that thing 1v1. And in general, King Shield is going to do its usual King Shield mind games. And this is mainly here to be a switch into Mega Gardevoir, which, as you see, otherwise would just pick up a kill every time it came in and clicked Hyper Voice. So this thing takes it on very well. Shadow Ball is not a 2-hit KO. In fact, it may be less. I need to run that calc, though. I forget exactly what it is, but I knew either way this was my best switch into it, so it didn't really matter. But that will be... that will be very important to keep Aegis Slash healthy enough to do its job as far as weakening stuff, not give it up too early. Otherwise, certain mons like the Guard of War could become a problem. Other mons I considered on this team, I considered Magnazone for a while for trapping the Bronzong even more, but Crocodile does that job actually a little bit better because it doesn't die to Earthquake. And even the Magnazone is very strong, and it's another fairy resist that is not weak to Shadow Ball. The other mons were just more important, and the jobs that it would have filled are still covered on my team anyway by Aegis Slash and Crocodile. And I gave brief consideration to the Rabombi for webs, but I didn't think that was going to be as important because words, thinking, stalling. Oh yeah, because Torn is still going to be faster anyway. It's not going to be affected, or not faster than Rabombi, but faster than the rest of my team because it's not affected by webs. So I figured, that wasn't worth it. And I'd have to run a defensive set to check Garchomp, but it probably would be Poison Jab anyway for the Altaria. So I figured that wouldn't work out too well. But either way, I feel very confident in this team, but this is a hyper-offensive team, so it's going to come down to play. This team isn't just going to auto-win, but I feel like I have the tools to just run over his team if given the opportunity, and I'm very happy with this. Man, this team is fun to build with. I built this team super quick, relatively speaking, and it just fell together so well. I love this team so much, but I guess I'll quit gushing, and yeah, I'm going to end it right here, so if you guys like what the Oakland A's Elves are doing, make sure you like, subscribe, share, do what you do with the YouTube videos, and come back tomorrow for the battle. And I will see you guys later.